I've got it just so I can actually show the team after this and how this is all going to work. So it now when I create things and draw things up and so forth, then I'll just, like for an example, open up and you'll see like a bit of insight and how I do everything and create everything in the first kind of place. So it I'll give an example. Like I had you know, people say, oh, I'm sick of updating the review dates and I have to do it individually each time, which it'll probably annoy anyone that's a current client would understand that. So I'm putting inside the feature. So I thought, how can I actually change that? Well, we've already got that kind of technology in the employee register. So I thought, why don't I have an select all, then it browse the review date and opens that up. Rightio. So there's a little kind of thing, but that's how it actually would draw it up. And then I'd sit down with the IT team and Michael, and then basically say, this is what I want, this is how it works. He'd project manage that with the IT team. And then after that, I would actually review it to see if I was happy with it. And then we put it on what's called, so how it all kind of works is that we've got, this is our development server. Then once we're actually happy with that, we push it to what's called a staging server. And when that staging server, and we're happy with that, we actually put it to a production server. So what in this process here, what we're going to do over the coming months and that kind of stuff is that I'm going to be pushing, it's going to be on the development server, and then I'm going to be pushing it to the staging server, and you'll be able to play around with it. I'll give you a username and password to the staging server. And then that way there, you can test it before it goes live into everyone's system. So this section here is really important because that's where you might go, no, we want this, 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 and this. We can also do that on the development server as well. So but I'll see if the boys are happy to send out username and passwords for that site. But you're looking at, it's just a great way to test everything and see if everything's up to date before it actually goes live into a system. Now, I was told once, many moons ago, when I first created this, I've created about 5 or 6 different products now, but this has been the major program, and that anything is possible. Anything is possible. So when it comes to actually creating something or doing something, and you might say, geez, it'd be really good if it actually did this, 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 and this. Just think anything could be done. So what I would like you all to kind of get in that kind of thing is that no idea is ridiculous. Every idea can have value, if that makes any sense. Do you know what I mean? But what I'm going to show you is certain things that we could add inside the system that you might go, oh, if that was inside the system, that means we could actually do this, 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 and this, if that makes any sense. So anyone can interject at any period of time and so forth. But yeah, this first kind of section, if I'll just go over exactly where I'm going and where I want to take it and where I see the benefits of actually upgrading such a feature. So at the moment, the incident register, as you know, has a red, orange, green process. So an incident is logged via either a QR code or logging into the system and filling in this form. I put this feature in there, would have been a couple of years ago, because people were saying that they didn't want to have, say for example, certain incidents inside here. And they also didn't, they wanted to add their own type of incidents. So this technology here is where I'm actually going to take the system for lots and lots and lots of different things throughout the system now. So you'll see that more and more. If I'll give an example of that. If I actually come to this new risk kind of section that I've created, and I'm just waiting to build this and put it inside the system. So I'm thinking I'll be updating the incident section and the hazard section at the same time here with these 2 upgrades, because I feel that they're going to work the same way. So in this here, I've got categories where you got the plus and minus on. So I already had preloaded categories, just like I got preloaded incident categories. But you've also got subcategories that you could enter if you wanted to. So these plus and minus fields, you'll see I've actually put literally everywhere on this risk page, because certain people want to do their own type of risk processes and want to add to the list. So this feature here is a great addition. So you can actually add to this list or minus from the list. The reason why this is so much better doing it this way, other than, say, for an example, a free text field or whatever it may be, is so, you know, like location of incident and all those kind of stuff, instead of having text fields and all that throughout the system, by having it down as a drop-down list, then you can create reports.
Sorry, Phil, one question here. If you create in that field, you create a new category called like fire incidents, okay? You create the category there, you plug it in, you start using it, right? Then after some months, you know, someone came across and say, hey, you know what, that's actually the wrong name. You should actually call that one, you know, fire risk incidents or something like that. You know, someone wants to get it more across to the legislation naming convention, you know. Or they recognize them that, look, that's two options. One, you change the name, and two, what happens, you actually remove the category because you had no incidents in there to report anyway, right? What happened with the data that you actually say under that category?
Yeah, so if you're trying to delete a category, I did this in another section, what it'll actually do, like in the, a good example is the qualification section. So if I actually come to the employee, so, and what all the time, I'm always trying to make the system as similar as other features inside the system, because if you do that, then people are used to that. So if I come down here, see, I can add a qualification, and that creates in my drop-down list. Now, let's just say, for an example, I spelt something wrong here. I can go edit, and I can actually select the qualification that I want to update, and I can change that now. So you can edit it, rightio. So submit. Now, if I wanted to delete a qualification, and if I go delete qualification and I select the qualification that I want to delete, it won't let me because this person has that qualification.
Right.
So what it does, it alerts you to say, hey, you can't delete this. Someone's actually related to it. You need to go to that person and update that. So that's how that kind of works at the moment. But I might be out.
Brad here. I think I understand Gabrielle's point, because I edited just the titles for certain qualifications in our system. And the data disappeared. So what I then had to do was go back and re-edit the qualification title back to the original, and then suddenly those qualifications reappeared. So I guess I've got similar worries that in terms of editing, at the moment, that field has changed, even if it's still based on the original entry, seems to cause an issue with linking to.
Not only that one, that in some systems you end up having this old sleeping category, CCC COVID-19 or CCC very old, not used, you know. So I think that systems over the time get plagued with conventions like that, I guess. So yeah, that's where my question came from.
Yeah, well, one, I can, with that field there, I can actually put that edit button just there, or, you know, I can actually have another thing where it would actually list all those people related to that certain incident, where you can either change that or, you know, basically export that data. So you've got that data if you wanted to. So there's variation. So I'll look at it when I update this system there, and Brad, I'll have a look why that section's, you know, not working as it should. So, but you're looking at having that kind of functionality there makes it very flexible then for the person and the user. So this kind of functionality just makes it that the person can tailor things to themselves. Now, one of the things in this section here, if I actually select, let's just say for an example, I select near miss, it'll bring up this form here, whatever it may be. But if I actually add a category, and I add a category of, and I've got my incident type AAA. When I select that, see how it actually just brings up that same template form. I think it might be beneficial if you actually add your own category type, but then it actually allowed you to build that bottom form and actually make, so using the same kind of feature as the checklist feature, which has been probably arguably one of the features that people like the best inside the system. So you can, for an example, create your own form at the bottom where you can actually add heading, add a question, add a text box, add a date field, and all those other scenarios. So it might be add a small text field, add a large text field. So add a yes, no question, whatever it may be. So then by doing that there, what that does, it actually just makes, the good thing about that, see, the bottom part of this form, if I actually select, say, for an example, behavioral and so forth, and it opens up a behavioral form here. So you're looking at, if you had the ability to build this relating to your categories, that'd be really, really good. Now,
yeah, that'd be great, Phil. That ability to customize
that there. So I was thinking also is like some of these ones which, you know, you've got damage to property, which is a little bit light, is actually, I'll update these, some of these ones that I preload inside the system, like this vehicle one. That was a great suggestion by a client. You know, people like this feature because they've got a lot of different things, but you know, this is related to a car, but it might be good if you could also relate it to a truck. So so you're looking at, so one of the things I'm going to be doing, add minors, I'll do the edit, but I'll also do that export kind of thing. So it'll pop up and show all those different things. These here, I'm going to add to them at the moment, but you'll be able to, when that actually creates this field down here, you'll be able to go add more, just like you do in a checklist, and you'll be able to add your own lines.
So let's say you decide to remove that AAAA because it's not going to be used anymore, all right?
Yep.
Or let's say that you will not have cars anymore, now you will have tractors, you know, or forklifts, you know.
Yep.
You go remove it, right? What happened with all the incidents I reported on that one?
If there was incident reported on that, would actually pop up and say these incidents related to this thing. You can't delete it. And
right. So let's say instead that, okay, I want to keep it for historical record. Can I hide the category? I just don't want the employee to use the category again. So the best way to do it, I don't want to delete it. I want to keep it for the record. I just want to hide it.
Phil, it'd be similar to you deactivate.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I'll actually make it that you can deactivate it.
Right. Okay.
So what actually happens then? So see this here. I want to deactivate it. That'll actually go in inactive record there, but you can bring it back at any time you wanted to. But that's going to keep that history. So I can actually do that. That's easy. So
right. So I can inactivate the whole category.
You can deactivate the whole category, and
right.
it's going to
and it will not show up in the form for this staff to use it at all.
It won't show up in the form. It won't show up in the reports. It'll actually go into a inactive register, and you'll be able to bring it back. So it's
awesome.
So this section here, by just like save an example, adding to this feature here, rightio, making these a little bit more developed. So it's and you're looking at having the ability then to actually create fields to your item that you want to do, rightio. So I think that'd be a good addition to that page there. If I come to the incident investigation kind of process, one other thing, and Dave, like you gave me this idea once before. If I go to incident, there was a process where you actually said, David, that you wanted it in this form here, that you wanted to know what was the immediate action after that incident occurred.
Absolutely. I think it's critical, like particularly from a legal perspective, if we raise an incident, we want to know what actions have been applied immediately. So for me, it was a fairly critical requirement.
Yep. So what would you like to see in that?
So what I'd like to see, Phil, is, for example, if a manager looks at a record, there's been an incident raised, you want to be able to see what's been done immediately to mitigate any further harm. So maybe an interim measure, it might be something like isolating an area or setting up a scene where you don't want to touch anything in terms of evidence. So just what's been done to mitigate and prevent any further harm or damage.
So are you saying that the person filling out this form should do this, or should that be in the investigation process?
No, it should be. So if you can imagine there's been an incident,
yep,
in a workplace somewhere, so they recorded the incident and then they've said what they've done immediately to mitigate any harm, whether it's areas been barricaded off, isolated, communication sent out, whatever it might be.
Yep.
But it's just that immediate action to make sure that no one else has put at harm or risk of injury.
One of the things that I reckon that could be interesting too, right? And that depends, of course, on the capacity, either to do this within the system or interact with the other systems, right? And it's something that happens to us like daily, right? It's not only giving the option to add the incident, right? But check in the incident form, which policy, procedure, or process it needs to be followed, with that. So they can actually link, the document and see the document. Hey, I'm gonna be filling this incident form now, okay? But what else should I be missing? And those prompts will tell you, hey, when you fill the incident report, you need to put description about the dates, the time, the subjects and stuff, So, okay, I get that one, right? It's a bit bulky, so to show it up front, so I think that we're heading to link it to the option and say, hey, before you complete this form, you can actually check, what you need to complete in here and why, okay? So by the time they actually fill the form, or if you have a query, hey, what's the policy about, checking in these kind of incidents, they can, okay, I have a look, a quick refresher, okay, I can go back and just do it, all right? Sometimes we find that if we prompted, you need to fill this field mandatory, they will do it, but they will not be as descriptive as you want it to be. You may do this training, every now and then just to recap, but at least we want to give enough options to them to say, hey, by the time you fill the incident, you actually have access, to this type of process, how to fill this type of incidents. So, okay, yeah, it was a good reminder. Thank you for that. All right. So you're just giving the extra options for them to have a look at. So yeah. I think that extra link in there wouldn't mind if we actually can load it behind the scenes, that policy in there. So yeah.
Well, it's like, say for an example, like this feature here is, arguably one of the best features I've ever put inside the system, because in here, I can actually take a person how to actually do fill in that, because I wasn't on the investigation page there.
Mm-hmm.
If I go how to complete an incident form, this highlights every single cell and what to do. Now, it does it in a generic way. And yes, the videos that I've actually created are related to all these different things, but yeah, I might make it even better, depending on what category they do, depends on what they do. Do you know what I mean? So,
mm-hmm.
so I could do, because at the end of the day, what you're asking to, can you add this to link to this? That's pretty,
yes.
That'd be pretty
yes.
complex at the moment. So
mm-hmm.
what I'm trying to do is trying to keep that simplicity, but making it complex.
No, good, yeah.
So, but I could actually create, these kind of process at the moment.
mm-hmm.
This literally goes through the entire, process where it's actually
mm-hmm.
saying you can actually do this. And people actually do use it, because I can actually see how many times a person's actually used this.
mm-hmm.
So but I could actually create these for different types of incident types. Might be a good way to do it. That might solve that problem there. So I'll give you another one as well that, and also this probably affects a lot of the NDIS kind of clients, is that over the years I've had people go, well, okay, we've had an incident. Yes, it was Jackson Fuller was the person injured, but their carer was also injured when they were trying to actually help that person, or this person had an incident on the forklift, but he also did this and was the thing. So what the affected person, I was going to put add another affected person, and you could actually add another affected person, add another affected person. So you might have 3 people related to that affected person, but then next to that affected person, say for an example, this person we know is the major person was injured. There was another person affected, but I'd have a button next to that button saying, does this person need an investigation? Do you know what I mean? Or does this need to be a separate report? You can select yes or no, and it'll actually put it inside the designated field. No, Dennis, I can't. So it's I can't hear you. So you there? So it's
in the chat at least. So
yeah, you can chat via there if you wanted to, Dennis. If you can't hear us, I'll just put you over there like that so I can see anything that comes up if you do it like that. But you're looking at. So I was gonna. What do you think of that as an idea overall?
I think it's a good idea, Phil, because you may have one incident, but as you said, there may be multiple parties, and it may not be an injury, it may be behavioural like you've got there.
Yep.
Say a team has done the wrong thing,
yep.
And you just don't want to identify one individual.
So, and I just thought, yeah, you could actually say, add another, just like, so for an example there, and you can just say, does this person need investigation or to be a separate incident? And they can select what they want to do with that, or they just might want to keep them on this, just in this section here, because it's done.
I think it'd be really useful early on in these forms. I mean, I'm sure everyone here uses these for a range of different incidents, going from it could be minor damage to stock, a forklift crushing a carton, through to serious physical injuries. So early on, it'd be good to include a prompt for the category of incident, using sort of standard consequences in terms of insignificant, minor, etc., in terms of physical damage, dollar damage, so that, if it's 3, 4, or 5, that immediately gets flagged to certain individuals in the organisation, as opposed to, someone crushing a couple of cartons with a forklift. That's a complete.
Well, it's a kind of thing that I was actually looking at going down that track as well. So I'll just.
I get all these notifications for incidents, and it's often to do with, minor damage. But since we did have physical injury, that was substantial. Every time you get a notification, your heart's in your mouth.
Yeah, you're breaking up a bit there, Brad. So every second word is, but I'm kind of getting what you're saying. So this is what I actually was doing relating to hazard categories and hazard types, and I was thinking about maybe doing this in the incident, and let me know what you feel about that. Is so the green, I'd have those categories that we already have are inside there, but you can add and minus the categories. And then you could actually add an incident type underneath that category, just like you're saying, Brad. There you go. So you're creating your list down here, and then that list is actually, so you select the category, they select the list.
Yeah,
now,
I was thinking more in terms of whoever, there's a range of different skill sets completing this form. And I was thinking in terms of really giving people clear indications in terms of what constitutes a notifiable incident.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's what. I mean, I'll just answer Dennis's question there as well. Dennis, yep. Actually, what I'll do is I can actually use the Walk Me feature to do the exact same process what you're saying there. So, yep, I'll put that inside the system. That's a good one. So it but Brad, what I was going to add to this, you'd be able to rate the risk of that category, whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, whatever it is that you want to rate them. Do you know what I mean? And then that would actually then link into the alerts. It would link into who's going to be notified depending on what it is, whether it's going to be an incident, has to be notified to, safe work or whatever it may be that needs to be done. But doing it by building your own kind of categories and subcategories in your risk ratings relating to this thing, you might even processes that the person needs to follow. If it's this certain type of incident, might open up a certain incident investigation form. I'm just blurting out all the ideas. Is that if you did it like that, then the great thing about doing it this way is that you could set email alerts to automatically go to wherever it may be that you wanted to do if a certain incident was done. Because you're looking at the moment, a lot of people are saying, well, you've only got to add an incident alert for each individual site. What about, that person doesn't need to receive an incident alert if it's, for an example, just behavioural. They want that to go to the HR person, for an example. Just an example.
Phil, I understand what Brad's saying. We're the same. We've got a fairly wide range of skill sets in terms of people entering information,
Yep.
and they may not necessarily understand what the requirements are for a notifiable incident.
Yep.
For me, even like if there's an injury, then if you had a checkbox that said, just tick the indicators for notifiable, which would be, inpatient in hospital, loss of consciousness, or, degloving, or whatever it might be. And if they tick one of those boxes, then there's it's almost a red flag, and it's alerted.
All right. Well, yeah, absolutely. I had that once before where they've gone, they wanted to, if these 2 boxes were highlighted, then it actually raised the alert. Because we've already got the boxes there, we could use them. So if this incident form was done, and for an example, and Brad, that might be the way to do it as well, as you're saying, like if it's first aid, it can be just go to a certain person. So I've already got all these fields here that I can actually make alerts go to those individual fields. So instead of doing all the different categories, which might be too complicated. This person then doesn't even realize that this is notifying the right person that they need to go, because they're just doing their job and filling out the form. Is that what do you think?
I think so. I think from our perspective, anytime an ambulance is called on site, whether it's our like an issue with one of our staff, or you just simply have someone, fall off their own vehicle, but they happen to be on the property, as far as we're concerned, that goes straight to the CEO, and then obviously national managers, and there's a whole different process comes into play.
Yep. So it's all right. So that's an easy done. That one there. That's an easy one. So it's adding another affected person, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I know I can do that because I actually had that in an old NDS system that I actually created. So it's so this kind of stuff we can just, and the thing about this, doing like these fields there and using those fields, we're still not changing anything inside the system. It's keeping that nice, simple uniformity. Do you know what I mean? So,
yep.
So it let me go back. Let's go to, so for an example, the incident form, investigation form. So this one here was actually going to, the upgrades I was actually going to have here is basically the red plus signs in some of these fields. And I actually had it in, if I go to this section here. So I had a person saying that they wanted to actually track when that person's, what hours that person was working. Also, it was going to pick up the employee register and pick up their nationality. So it was also going to pick up whether they're full-time, part-time, casual, or volunteer, and that kind of stuff. So this is already in the system. So I was going to be adding to the employee page, which is literally having nationality and language spoken, as well as it's got the address and all that kind of stuff. So by using the address and the suburb and the nationality and spoken language, what that can actually do is enhance that investigation process, enhance this investigation process by generating reports to identify, did that person, like in this one, I got this guy from this MTC Motor Trades cover when they were doing stuff for iCare, and they were tracking how far the worker actually travelled to work that day. And they wanted to see if fatigue was a factor in that person having an incident, whatever it may be that it did. So, and they did it over a period of time, and you could actually track it that people who are too tired because they travel a long way to work, or whatever it may be, were more likely to have an incident. So with that, having kind of bulked this up by having that kind of ability to pick up, their nationality, because it might be that there's a lot of workers out there that mightn't be able to, read English or follow instructions and all those different things. So therefore, they're not using the machine correctly or not doing that activity correctly. But you don't know because you're just assuming that. Whereas if you had the statistics to back that up, do you think that would be something that would enhance what you would like to see?
I think, Phil, as long as it's customizable, it's probably something we wouldn't use, but it might be a feature that others potentially could.
Yeah, it'll be non-mandatory, so you can use it or not use it. But it's just something that what I want to try to do is bulk up this investigation form at in more of the thanks, Dennis. So if I go if I bulking this up using the who, what, when, why, how kind of theory in here, I think that would bulk that up. But what I want to do into here, so Gabrielle, all these fields actually expand, rightio. So and you can expand all those at the moment, but I just think, well, I've already got the technology where you can add your own category there. What do you think? Because you've got different contributing factors depending on what business you are. So you could actually add your own categories of contributing factors with your own subcategories. So, and the same thing with corrective measures here. Well, at the moment, you've only got 5 recommended corrective actions. So this is a little bit light on. Whereas if you had that, add more, and built your own corrective actions recommended, and then that way there, depending on who you actually recommended, to go to a certain supervisor, not just the one.
Can I just jump in here in terms of the new tools you're putting out relating to site sign-on and COVID screening?
Yep.
We created our own checklists and QR codes and whatnot, but because of the obligations in Victoria, especially, just looking at the way this is set out, and in terms of flagging as part of the incident the person's working hours, the obligation within a business is for a contact tracing, obviously their internal work colleagues and staff, and which areas of the business they've been around prior to becoming infectious. So I don't know if it's in part of your COVID package yet, but it kind of makes sense to do one of these for a COVID infection in the workplace, because clearly the processes are really well defined at the moment. It constitutes a notifiable incident, immediately, like Safe Work Victoria must be notified. local health authority. And then if you have, just as you've shown, if you can flag that person's work hours as well as time and date of the incident, immediately that feeds out into like going back over the TimeMinder or work clock data to identify all the other employees that are potential close contacts. So, I don't know if you've thought about that, but it's a huge obligation on anyone who has a business in Victoria, particularly at the moment.
Yep. You're breaking in and out, Brad. It's pretty.
Sorry.
But I can hear most of that. But yeah, absolutely. So it with that the new COVID feature and all that kind of stuff. At the moment, that's version 1 out there at the moment. Version 2, you'll be able to link that to employees, contractors, and it'll actually keep like a timesheet later on. That's where that's going to go. So
I was just thinking, sorry. I was just thinking in terms of, because we're already obligated, I'm sure all the other guys are as well, that our employees in Victoria have to do a daily health declaration. It has to be recorded.
Yep.
Your site register as of next week will replace the processes we have for that.
Yep.
And so if you've then got your employees, this will be the first way that we can easily track time in, time out for employees aside from the time clock.
Yep.
And they have to do the COVID checklist.
Yep.
So if you then link that to, this, as I mentioned, this COVID incident report, it brings it all together because you've got everything tied into that site register. It's perfect.
Okay. Righto. Well, maybe it in the incident form here, I put a category in here, COVID, and then put all the different things that you need to report on that as in the drop down kind of thing. So it because then what I could do is if they select no up here in some reason or it's highlighted that the thing, it'll link into this incident register. Maybe I could do it like that. So let me think about that one. So it because all right. But if we had, say, for an example, if you had the ability to add here and add here to this here, just like the checklist builder, that's going to give this section a massive flexibility to a person to tailor it to how they want it to. Now, all these categories will have to stay because there's already data from all these client systems that already have that. So you can't take it out of the database if that makes any sense. So it, but you might be able to deactivate these, but I can't see why you would because they've stood the test of time, those categories. So, but you can just add to those categories if you wanted to as well. So let me just now we'll go to the next stage. Or wait a minute, let me fill out this form so I can actually quickly go to the next stage. All right, so supervisor's report. I'm going to change it from supervisor's report. It just annoys me. So so I'm going to actually have that there. Just I'm going to change the name to whatever it may be. So it corrective measure might be probably the better kind of name for this kind of section. So it but in here again, I'm going to add more of the drop down categories instead of the open text field, because if you have the open text field, again, people can just enter anything they want there, and it's not uniform. So therefore, you can't say, for example, develop reports out of this section because it's just text. So I'm going to be adding to all this to put the text to the drop down boxes. This section here relates to the time off work section and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of people, they want a couple of changes in the return to work kind of process because, but I'll get into that maybe in the next couple of sessions, whatever it may be. I'm going to add to again, you can actually add to this field. So it's always making that flexible. You can add to this page in your own kind of stuff that you want to actually create. So it's like you're developing your own incident form. it's already got the basic fundamentals there, but you can add to these all these different areas. So it the action section goes into the action register and all that kind of stuff. That'll stay and remain the same. So
Phil,
it
sorry, jump in.
Yep.
Just while you're talking about the action section, what I'd like to see, like if somebody gets assigned an action, you've got no way of finding where it's coming. So whether it's coming with a workplace inspection or whether it's coming out of an investigation, it just seems that you can't go back to the source document that the action was originally raised from.
Did you see this new feature in here inside here now? So this is a new feature in the action register because I had a client say that very thing, David. They said, you know what, we've got all these actions, but it doesn't link to the actual accident or incident. So if you click that, it takes you straight to that investigation of that person.
Great. We didn't realise that feature.
Yeah. So that literally has just gone in there in the last couple of weeks.
Okay. That's great.
So it's it is. And now if you actually publish that register, as both Dennis and Brad know, I've updated a couple of these export sheets to make them more detailed from requests and that kind of stuff, because a lot of people like more detail in there. But if you publish this one as well, it actually gives you more details now than it was before. So, and actually shows you which incident it was related to there.
Yeah, that's good.
So it so that one went in there. So I'm just trying to think. Maybe I actually mentioned that in the webinars and all that kind of stuff. But maybe what I'll do from now on is, you know, the pop-up box where I put a shout out to say, hey, this is a new feature inside the system.
Yep. I'll
actually, you know, next time I do something like that and upgrade something, I'll do a pop-up. By the way, there's a new upgrade into this section here. This, so I can let everyone know. So
yep.
with but one of the big things in relating to this incident is obviously, and I know Dennis is a big advocate of reporting. So it and this is where I really want to take this to the next level through this section here. So at the moment, if you enter an incident type, it actually puts it into this section here. So you can get detailed reports and that kind of stuff. But by selecting it, only actually highlights those incidents where I wanted to drill down. If I come, say, for an example, to, let's just say, these injury types. So one, if I click here to do a detailed report, yes, it's got that there, and you've got your different incident types and all that kind of stuff. But what I wanted to do there is actually add to these incidents underneath here, so you could actually drill down. So let's just say, for an example, if I selected amputation, there's 4 amputations. When I select it, if I click on it, what it'll actually do, it would change all the graphs underneath it to highlight that they were at this site, they're a thing, this is the age
that
group.
is indeed feel a great idea, right? Basically, management have the capacity to have that dynamic view, you know, from the top level, and then just go and granular if they want. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So it's I was thinking this way. Let's just say we'll use amputation as an example. So I do amputation there, and then this would change to all your sites inside, so you can actually see which sites are actually having that sites there. Then underneath here, I was actually going to have reports on, you know, various kind of, you know, how many machines, was it related to a certain machine? Do you know what I mean? So this amputation might have been relating to a whatever machine it was. That's what we know now, that we've got amputations. It's at this site here, and this is the #1 machine that's causing that amputation. And say, for an example, then it would actually have maybe body part. What was amputated? Was it a finger? Was it a foot? Was it whatever it may be? Was it a head? So hopefully not. So it but by just literally you selecting the category or whatever it may be, it would actually develop this entire report and statistics.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea, and particularly for those machines that are more dangerous than other ones, I think it's key. All right. So you actually will try to get more trained staff to go and to use those ones, likely. So yeah.
I was also thinking, like, say, for an example, so I was going to do that, for literally every single one of these sections. Rightio?
Yeah.
So it would actually drill down in a variety of reports. So it's the thing is that you're probably thinking you'd probably like to know, just going, I would like to know the number one incident type in our business and what kind of all the factors relating to it. Was it relating to a machine? What was the all these different things? And instead of having just a graph report where you still got to go, okay, well, there's amputations, that's great, but what does it relate to on, and you know, all these different things, you can actually print out top rated incident types, for an example, in a sheet kind of thing, or even in a bar graph or whatever it may be. But it would actually highlight that you've had 20 incidents related to hand, and it happened to be this machine here was actually caused 15 of those incidents. So it's so you've got all your different incident types. It would actually go through the statistics to say this is how many incidents relating to that category type. This is how many machines were related to this item. This is the machine that was the number one machine.
Not only that, you can actually go further to create a KPI, you know, about the risk of injury with one specific type of machine based on the recording of the number of incidents and the type of machine for a period of time. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and like, say for an example, if I print that as a PDF, it's not something that it's something I definitely want to upgrade to make it a more detailed kind of incident report. I was going to think if you actually selected that as PDF, and when you did that and all that kind of stuff, instead of just producing the report, like this, whatever it may be, it'd be more flexible that if you actually selected, like this, for an example, this developed report I had in the old system, but I could actually really do this up to be something very, very special. So if I develop this report, you've got all these different categories, but I wanted to actually increase these to if you added category and the other stuff, it'd actually be here, your incident types and all those different things. So, but you could actually develop your own report here, which would
I think that's key, Phil. I think everybody wants something a bit different.
Yep.
And the ability to customise your own reporting from a fairly extensive list would be really beneficial.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So, well, I mean, is there any chance that, like, say for an example, over when you have time or something like that, is that, and I'll ask Michael how I can actually set this up. I'll set up some kind of, I'll set up a forum kind of page, and you could actually add those kind of reports that you would like to see.
Yep.
So if, between the four of you guys, I'm sure you've got lots of different kind of reports that you would like to have and like to see, because if I can satisfy, because you're literally 4 different industries, hence why, like, it's good to kind of pick your brains kind of thing. But if you had, hey, I would like to see this, and I know, Gabrielle, like in your industry, you've got all these things that you've got to report on, and some of them are mandatory reports now, aren't they? There's certain reporting things. So, if you could let me know that, because then I could actually build that inside the system here. Because really, if it reached kind of the NDIS standards, it's going to reach literally most standards. So it's
only that one. The thing is that for us, the things go particularly sensitive, either because it goes political, right? We've got a royal commission for that, or 2, or we end up in court. That happens often, right? Or basically the client gets injured, so that may happen too. The staff can get injured, that happens a lot too. And particularly the fact about the cost of insurance could be skyrocket depending on how sensitive you work with. And for this particular company, right, is a high risk in every corner. So I think that this path for us is particularly essential, I guess, that we're able to predict not only what happened, but able to predict what may happen or what's likely to happen.
Yep. All right. Well, if you guys could actually list a series of reports that you would like to see, and then I can actually then really build that into this system here. So and yeah, just I think at the moment taking it to the next level and drilling down is going to be really important. And it might be a feature, you know, with the developed report. Whereas I might have it that let's just this is just, you know, how I usually kind of roll. I come up with ideas as I'm going through stuff. Is that you might say there might be an icon here, add to report. Do you know what I mean? So, and then you could actually come through here, and yeah, it might be, you know, a button up here, add all pies and sub pies, some graphs to this report. So it just makes it easier for you to develop the report to do what you want to do. Or so, you know, so when you actually select add, instead of this develop report here, I might change it that you can actually view the report that you've developed. So imagine viewing all your graphs and going, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. So, and in one I had before is that you could actually add comments to that graph. Rightio. So imagine if I'll just see. So let's select edit. So see how I've actually got it that you can actually add comments to this graph. So I could say we've had a lot of amputations. That's because this. So at the moment, like it's in the system, but it could be so much better. By you know, you'll be able to develop your own report relating to all this kind of stuff. So it
and I think it's ideal because if you're able to drill down that medical amputation, you'll see, okay, look, the number has decreased on such and such, I would say. Yeah, nothing is right. Yeah.
And you're looking at, if I go to the Excel, because you've got your graph reports, but you've also got your, you know, your incident reports by CSV or Excel spreadsheet. So it's at the moment, this is the report that is in there. If you guys want to have a look at that, you might think, you know what, why don't we? Should I be adding more of the investigation kind of categories that they selected, so it's an overall report, or is that sufficient? So it's in that Excel spreadsheet, because this at the moment really is it's picking up the basic incident sections here, whether they selected those kind of incidents. Did it have an investigation? Did it has it had its supervisory report? And it's just picking up a couple of fields in there, but it's not picking up, for an example, all these fields. It's not picking up all that. Do you think it'd be beneficial to have that in an Excel spreadsheet, or just have that?
Phil, for me, the more data that I can get into a spreadsheet, I can filter however I wish. So for me, more's better. I'm happy to you know, set up slices or whatever I need to do to identify data. So yeah, I think the more options, the better for me.
That'd be good. And Dennis, yeah, the comment, yeah, that'd be good. I thought you'd like that one. So then you can actually develop your reports and actually say, hey, this is what we've investigated, this is how it's going to do. So I'll definitely get that comment section there, and you can develop your own report. And David, yeah, so what I'll do is in the incident register, in this published register, I'll make it all items and it's everything, but then I'll have a couple of other different filters here. Do you know what I mean? So it'll allow the person the flexibility to say, okay, yeah, I want all the data. Do you know what I mean? So it and then you can do stuff like that. Now, another getting back to that investigation kind of process there is that it so you've got these categories there, and if I go to the incident report, to the contributing factors kind of process there. So it so you got contributing factors there and all those different things. But do you think it'd be better to have these as a pie you can select on this, and it'd be drilling down like this kind of area, so you can actually see that instead of just seeing just who it was? I think that'd probably be better statistics. because you're looking at, if I come to those contributing factors, that contributing factor might have related to a certain machine all the time. So it, because the thing you can actually, in that investigation process, if I select that report, and if I come down here, for an example, to plant and equipment, you can actually select the machine here as well. Do you know what I mean? And all these different statistics. So there's lots of statistics that can be actually made. Like, okay, so for an example, the contributing factor was plant and equipment, but then you've got all these things here that could give you great stats. Was it because that the person wasn't trained in the safe work method statement? Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, I've already got all the data in there. So, you know, this form has really stood the test of time. So it's
sorry to jump in here. The one thing that keeps striking me with the incident reports is I don't know of an incident where you're not obliged to take multiple photos, multiple angles.
Yep.
I've encouraged our guys to upload photos. I don't know actually how I get them back. There's no way of viewing a gallery. I mean, and when it comes to, you know, say a WorkSafe inspection incident, we'll immediately stop, you know, the area is roped off. Photos are taken, as I said, all angles. We upload it. So then the beauty of your system is everything is recorded centrally. There's this, you know, it's this repository we can always go back to, yet there's no image gallery. There's no, you know, you're still going back to email chains and you're still doing the same thing. It's like, oh, I can't remember which email that came in. Have I saved it? You know, who's got the photos?
Yep. No, I like that, Brad. So it's, so I could actually easily put, say for an example, a button there, photo gallery. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would solve that problem. That would,
I think from what Brad's saying too, like multiple photos, that's the concern we've got at the moment, Phil, is that we can only pick one image and attach to the incident.
Righto. So that's definitely something that I know a lot of people kind of want. So it, I'll definitely put that in. So
particularly in terms of like after an incident or by the time someone's turned up on site, an inspector, they want a published copy of the report. So again, it's, you know, uploaded at the time, you know, it's all there. You publish it, the photos come out, however they come out. I don't, you know, but have some out that side bit, whether it comes out as a mini gallery or something. But yeah, it's just if you know, you really want a one-stop shop, you just publish it with everything there and hand it over.
Yeah. Yep. Brad, the other thing I'd like to see is a section on progress notes. So
okay. Yep.
So as somebody, you know, whether it's some sort of intervention or whatever it may be, a date, time, what was done, and who did it. So you've got a traceable record of the progress of events as well.
Yeah.
All right. So I could actually add another button here, progress notes, add notes to this.
Yep.
So you can at the moment, I'll just go back to this incident register. So you can actually add notes here, right? So it, and that is actually kept down here. That's where that's kept.
Under signed documents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, or did you want something more than that? So
what I've worked with previously, when I was in the utilities business, we used an SAI Global product.
Yep.
And it was almost like a table fill where, you know, you could add a line and then it's time stamped. You know, the next person goes in, adds feedback or comments. So it's all, you know, basically it's all time stamped. You've got no control of selecting the date and time that you want to put in there.
Yeah. So okay, this is kind of time stamped as well. But if I know I can actually, sorry, I'll go select back there. Go into register. If I with that item there,
yep,
I could add to this pop-up box to make it better, right? So I'll take out the date field so it's automatically time stamped.
Yep. Yep.
So it's but you can put in, you know, details, additional notes, completed by, but it might be is there any actions out of this? Because you might have an action relating to what's done here. So they can add an action here, and what it'll actually do in the view history, I should make it probably the best log in the system is the checklist log. So if I select this one here, toggle information, see how it's got all the actions, hazard, maintenance, log, everything related to this checklist. So if someone selected no in this here and entered an action, it actually lists all the actions that in the history here. So something like that would probably suit that. Do you think, David, or like that?
Yeah, I think as long as it's a record that we know can be substantiated, I suppose, in terms of the time and date stamping, that it's not something that can be added later on.
Manipulated. Yep. So see, the good thing about the checklist builder, it's automatically timed stamped. So if I make it more like this, and then again, it's like uniformed inside the system, that it's something very similar to what is already there. All right, that sounds good. So
can you go back to the checklist field just a quick second, just the previous screen?
Yep.
Just want to check something. Just open any, it's good. Just roll down a little bit. Site machine compliance.
So this is just so you can build the checklist inside your system. Any checklist you want to build. So
you can add items like odometer or hours reading and stuff like that. So
you can. You literally this feature here is arguably the most used feature inside the system. Like I'll give you an example of that. Like people would do it for pre-start checklist or site risk assessment, and all those different things. And I know that Dennis is using it for. Their hoists, doing their literally their pre-start checklist of a hoist, and it just makes it easier because it creates the QR code. You've got the checklist on the hoist. They can scan it. If something's wrong, straight away they can actually log an incident, take a photo, put it in, that kind of stuff.
Just have a question to you guys. Have you guys at some point tried to cross this checklist with this staff timesheets of the roster? What would happen a lot to us in construction and in the mines was that we had checklists missing, right? But at some point we didn't know who actually missed it. So we actually have to backtrack who was operating the unit, and check if he completed the checklist or not. Then it was a paper trail. So it was a bit complex, because they say, I did it, someone forgot the paper. Or the paper was in my pocket, sorry, So have you come across, trying to relate, who was the operator at some point, or?
Not yet, but I mean, I'm actually going to be upgrading that later this year because I'm actually going to putting in that section to make it into a quality section. But we can talk about that. You can be in that forum too, Gabriel. That's one of the things is the guy that was the CTO, Chief Technical Officer of iAuditor, now actually works for me, and he's brilliant. So we're really going to get stuck into that to make that something special later this year. But with the incident, I think, so for an example, I've got lots of kind of stuff that we've gone through today. I think now what I need to do is literally start drawing all this stuff up and putting all this together, which will take me some time. But if you guys, I'll get Michael to set up. We might do it. Actually, probably the best way is we do it. We use a program called Slack. So and in this Slack, it's like a project management tool. So we would actually, I'll set up a channel inside here, and I'll invite the four of you to this channel. And literally, you're looking that it will. Then I can actually post things up there or put links there, so I can give you a progress update. But you'll also be able to put those ideas of what you would like to see in a report. So that's probably the biggest one. What you would like to see in a report, but and then just remembering that we kind of got to relate it to lot of the system, so it doesn't lose that simplicity as well as lose the kind of flow that you like, because nearly all the registers work in a similar way, the red, orange, green kind of process, dose of the action, and all that kind of stuff. It's just that if we can develop these reports, I know, and Dennis will love that. So it and then that way there, it'll kind of make those features. But I'll add those fields into those other areas, and I'll post them up on Slack after we invite you all there, and you can have a look and give some feedback. We might say, okay, no, we need to add this, and this. So some of the stuff in there I might add, you might go, no, I don't think that'll work. So, but we can do it like that. So,
can you clock inspections at the moment, Phil?
Can you
clock inspection, like schedule inspections that need to be done on property or assets?
Yep.
Yes, you can. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yep. So it yeah. So anyway, we'll kind of we'll leave it there. But yeah, my brain's spinning. So it's but if you've got any ideas at all, it might be I'll get Michael straight away to set up this Slack channel, and we'll invite everyone, and you can just put them there, and we can just then everyone will be able to see their other ideas instead of doing it by email where you know,
awesome.
yes, you can CC everyone, but still like you mightn't like that. So by
Awesome.
Slack,
Good.
it's much better. Anyway, thank you for everybody, and thanks for being involved, and hopefully I can make something pretty special.
That's what
Guys, thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you. See you, Dennis. Dennis is speaking a lot today, so see you around, mate.
See you, Dennis.
See you, man. Bye.
Okay.
Right. Catch you, Phil.
All right, David. Yeah, you wanted to say something, or?
Oh no, I just I was just going to add to that you know the potential here is to make a fantastic product, and I think you know, listen to feedback from what people are saying. I think you're on the right track, Phil.
That's good. Yeah, because
Absolutely.
I said to the new investor, I said, look, I'm going to do this idea whereas yeah, we've got some really good clients and they're pretty knowledgeable. Yeah, I don't profess to know every single thing in the world, but I can actually create anything that you guys come up with. So that's my ability there. So it and he just went. He said that's a fantastic idea. So now this was like the first one, and then you guys, you know, the next one's going to be that literally is going to be the hazard section and then the checklist builder. So it and then if we can do that, so sometimes I might be adding additional people to the forum kind of thing, depending on, you know, if they've had a lot of kind of input into the checklist feature, which is a couple of people I know they use it literally all day, every day. So it so I'd get them involved in that kind of section as well. So it but anyway, yeah. So onwards and upwards.
Yep. All right.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right. Thanks, Brad. Thanks. All right, Dave. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye. See you, Dennis. Okay, thanks.